Auto Factories 101. First, you need your factory, and it's really simple here. Get your factory and okay. You're going to have your storage that the factory is going to be pulled from, and this is what the sensor logic is going to ping to tell you if you have enough stockpile before it shuts down the factory. And if your stockpile runs low, then it'll turn the factory back on to replenish it. Alrighty, so for the sensor block here, the sensor block, oh, this is a clock. It's activation module here with a timer and a not signal, and this is linked into this, and such, and such, and this back into this. So it's an infinite loop. And we are going to link the activation module into the sensor block here. Sensor block does not get linked into the activation module. It just having it next to it is what activates the activation module. The activation module is then linked into a not signal. So there we go. And we put the not signal into the factory. And sensor block needs to be linked to the storage block there. Alright, so now the sensor block is going to constantly ping the storage block, but we have not set the parameters for the sensor block as to the percentage that we want it to say. We have passed, let's say 10%. We've passed 10% of what we want stockpiled in our storage. So for that, we're going to need 10% would mean that we need at least 10 blocks here. And activate one of them. That would be 10%. Now you can activate 2 and it'd be 20%, 30, 40, etc. Okay, so we got it at 10%. So now this will turn off when the storage block here is 10% full. So, yeah, 10.0. Now, I'll just throw some stuff in here so that we'll see. As you can see, it turns this off and turned off the factory. Now, if there is nothing in here, the factory would turn back on. And so what you would do, the factory will pull directly from either your main storage or another factory storage. And this is how you would set up a chain reaction of blocks. And let's see here. So this is more or less the finished product. The factory, this storage block here, pulls from the factory. And then I have what's up here is what I would call the throttle for what gets pulled into the shop. Because I do not want the shop to empty out my entire stockpile, because then the factory will infinitely go on and on and on and just keep on producing until I'm out of materials, and it would be very ugly as a result. Because you can end up with a shop full of grills as opposed to a shop that has some of everything. So what you would go up here and set is you change the amount that it would pull. I have it set to 1, so it will trickle into the shop over time. And I usually have it at about 10% of the actual production that I have. And so it pulls from the main storage here. So it will just pull a little bit at a time until eventually it hits the point of where the threshold's at, and then the factory will activate and just throw a whole bunch more in, and the shop can slowly drain it again. Alright, it's really simple here. Got it all set up here. The clock, you only need one clock for your entire factory network, because one clock can be hit up on every single one of these sensors. You want to make sure that whenever you have a factory pull from another factory's stockpile, you want it to always be the storage and not the other factory. Otherwise, it just doesn't work out well. And this will allow you also, if you're going to do an auto shipyard for personal use, you're going to want to have your shipyard only pull from the storage blocks. If it pulls from the factory, it's going to mess up a lot of stuff. Alrighty. I believe that's it for the video.